my joy to present to you the Center for Threat-Informed Defense 2024 roadmap. I will start by doing an introduction of our speaker. I will then go into sharing some of the resources that the center has already published in 2024, and then I'll go into some of the projects that we're looking to complete through the rest of the year. Now, I will admit, it crossed my mind after hearing our conversations today, hearing the questions you've asked, to take this entire deck, throw it in the ocean, and create a new roadmap based on the demands that we're hearing from this group. What I'll share is, take this as this is the roadmap. This is not the journey. The journey is one that we'll complete together. All right, so who am I? I've introduced myself, Suneel Sundar. I'm the Director of Research and Development with the Center for Threat-Informed Defense. I take that term director very much to heart because the center runs a collaborative research and development program. My job as the director of R&D is to identify among our members what are the important problems that their operational teams are facing, not just in one organization, but across many organizations. Then to bring together the organizations and their staff that are experiencing these challenges in threat-informed defense, so that together we can come up with a solution that will benefit not just the initial proposing organization, not just the research partners that came together to solve it, but all of us, because all of our research is publicly available. Prior to taking on this role, I created and led MITRE's early career incubator called Cyber New Professionals. We brought in new graduates to cybersecurity. We taught them the various disciplines of cybersecurity that we practice, like red teaming, purple teaming, incident response, cyber threat intelligence, so that they would be available to implement the kind of work that you all do already. Prior to coming to MITRE, I was a founding member of the cyber threat intelligence teams at a US energy utility and at Visa. I learned a lot from them. I got into this world after graduate school by designing cryptographic algorithms at the US National Security Agency. At the US National Security Agency, I taught the only classified yoga class in the world ever, I think, because I also, when I'm not doing this wonderful job, my other wonderful job is as an Iyengar yoga teacher since 2009. That is not an AI-generated image. That is not a distortion in the slide. That is me at least 5 days a week for 5 minutes. So, next slide, please. All right, so I'm going to talk through some of the research that we have published already. One that I'd like to share with you is the Insider Threat TTP knowledge base. So I want to share this one for a few reasons. One, this is an application of threat-informed defense that I hope will be unique among the presentations you've heard today. And I was the project leader for this, so I'm quite proud. So our Insider Threat program within the center began in 2021, and it kind of began with a joke. And the joke was, if you've seen one Insider Threat program, then you've seen exactly one Insider Threat program, because Insider Threat programs don't share. There wasn't a mechanism for them to share. But using our venue in the Center for Threat-Informed Defense, we were able to create an opportunity for organizations to share the events that they had seen in their insider cases, abstract them to the cyber TTPs that were used in those insider events, and share it out with the community. That effort was far more successful than we could have imagined. We found it used not only by our members, but by others in the community, such that earlier this year, we published the next version of it. In total, we've shared 47 techniques and 29 sub-techniques that insiders have actually used across financial sectors, health, managed security service providers. It is the first cross-sector, multi-organizational, evidence-based and publicly available knowledge base of insider events in the world. In this second round of research, we took not only what do the insiders do, but then turned to what do we do? And we found 36 mitigations for these documented insider behaviors. So in a threat-informed way, now you know what the insider does, and now you know what to implement to detect and prevent it in your organization. Then, acknowledging that insider is part of the insider threat is cyber, but the other part of the insider threat is not. We expanded our knowledge base to look at what we call observable human indicators. These are, again, evidence-based, objective, quantifiable attributes of insiders to complement the cyber observables. These are things that your insider risk groups already collect. Things like tenure, things like was the individual on under monitoring, things like did the individual have elevated privileges, quantifiable measures that complement our cyber TTPs. Please take a look at this TTP knowledge base and share it with your insider risk team so they too can become threat informed. Next slide, please. We've already heard a little bit about the sightings ecosystem, and earlier this year, the Center for Threat Informed Defense released an extension, or version 2 of the sightings ecosystem. To level set us, voluntarily contributed observations of specific adversary TTPs, that's what we call sightings, are anonymized and aggregated to produce insights into the most commonly used attacker techniques. This demonstrates threat activity across organizational, platform, vendor, and geographical boundaries. One of sightings itself with these cases and the techniques in them is an outstanding resource prima facie. But in addition to that, what we in the center have done is use the sightings data for some of our other projects, like the Top Attack Techniques Calculator and others that I'll share in our roadmap. So I encourage you to look at the sightings ecosystem. And I encourage you to contribute to the sightings ecosystem. Now, both of these projects, the Insider Threat TTP knowledge base and the sightings ecosystem, share one common thread. The reason these are useful to you is because members of the community, like you, who are familiar with attack, have found a way to contribute data into the TTP knowledge base, into the sightings ecosystem, that the center and its partners can anonymize and analyze, and then publish into insights that all of us can use. So please, for both sightings and the insider knowledge base, use them, contribute to them, and then make them better. Next slide, please. So John, in our first talk of the day, defined for you threat-informed defense. The definition is holding up well, but the definition, like all definitions, is evolving through use. That led us to our project called Measure, Maximize, and Mature Threat-Informed Defense. That's a mouthful, so we sometimes just refer to it as M3TID. It takes the 3 key components of threat-informed defense that you see in our triangle and defines components for each of the key problem areas in threat-informed defense that your organization can measure. What we published then in the M3TID project was an actionable definition of threat-informed defense and its associated key activities, and a formalized approach to measure your threat-informed defense. So using the M3TID resources that we've published, you can score yourself. You can score your friends. You can score your home. This M3TID is now taking that definition that John has shared with you, that all of us have embraced, and made it into something that you can measure and improve upon. This is already out and available on our center website. Next one, please. So that is a few of the projects that we've released already. It's not all of them. I do want to drive you over to the center's Our Work website to see these resources and many more. Now, just with those, that's a pretty solid year, but it's only April. Let's see what's to come. Next one, please. The next one I'd like to talk about is threat modeling with attack. So in this room and online, y'all are bought into attack, but you may have partners within your security organization for whom attack is not their common language yet. And what that may lead to, at least what our members and partners told us, is that our security operations team is using attack to supplement our defenses to get better at that. But our developers and our application owners, they're not using attack. So when we try to talk about securing the system, the left hand and the right hand are not quite in sync. So we came to threat modeling with attack. They wanted guidance to identify relevant, impactful threat scenarios such that we could develop an attack-compatible solution to enumerate threat scenarios for practitioners who are developing systems and applications. What I'm quite proud of in this project is in our collaborative program, we have organizations that all use attack, but internally use different threat modeling methodologies. Why would you want that, Suneel? So that we're not tied into one. My goal in this research project is that we'll have a methodology for threat modeling with attack that is agnostic to your threat modeling methodology, so that whatever we create, you can use. Sound good? Next one, please. I'll now like to share summiting the pyramid. So those of you who were in the workshop yesterday heard a lot about summiting the pyramid. John shared an impactful story about someone who's not a center member, someone who found summiting the pyramid and used it for impact. We've heard that from the community. The summiting team the work has been included in Sigma. They have spoken at conferences. They've been on podcasts. This kind of community reception validated for us the work that we did and inspired us to go further with it. So the first round of summiting the pyramid created the host-based methodology to score analytics, to make unavailable analytics for all detection engineers. It left a lot on the table. Like any good research, it creates more research. And the areas we'll tackle in this next round of summiting the pyramid are more precision with robustness. We want to increase precision without sacrificing robustness. And as you read about the summiting methodology on our center website, you'll see that currently there seems to be a trade-off. We think we can do better, and we will do better in V2. Second, we want to expand robustness to network-focused data sources. Third, we seek to catalog and score known data sources for automated scoring, and then expand the number of analytic and event observables. The goal in this is unavailable analytics that don't trigger an intractable number of false positives. So the way that we'll do this is with your feedback. Please review summiting the pyramid, please use summiting the pyramid, and then please tell us what we need to do to make it better, because we have the opportunity to do that in 2024. Next, please. I couldn't get off the stage without mentioning AI. To date, our center projects in threat-informed defense have been focused on cybersecurity, but the threat-informed defense principles are not limited to cybersecurity. And in our Secure AI project, we'll apply these principles of threat-informed defense to AI. We're working in partnership with another project within MITRE called Atlas. Atlas creates, what you see here is the Atlas framework, which documents tactics and techniques of threats to AI systems. Our Secure AI project will do this in a very deliberate way. First, we want to document new case studies that address the vulnerabilities of systems that incorporate generative AI. This came as a request from our members who have joined this project. The generative AI is what they are concerned about, what their leadership are concerned about. So in our collaborative R&D program, can we address generative AI with specific examples? Next, we want to keep the Atlas TTPs and the attack TTPs in sync. I love this one. And it came from a statement by our Atlas lead who said, secure AI systems are built on top of secure cyber systems. Addressing the AI alone isn't enough. We already have the tool of MITRE ATT&CK, which updates twice a year, as Amy has taught us. So now, can we have the updates to MITRE ATT&CK and the updates to MITRE Atlas remain in sync so that when you're securing your system against AI threats, you also have the knowledge that you need to secure them against cyber threats? We'll develop a plan to do this sync, we'll implement this plan, and we'll keep it going. from the foundation of secure cyber systems and secure AI systems, from documenting the incidents, we can go further. We'll develop strategies to mitigate relevant threats to AI systems and tools and playbooks to emulate threats to AI-enabled systems. Mitigate and emulate should sound familiar to you from the talks that we've heard today from our practice of threat-informed defense. Next one. The next one I'll share is the technique inference engine. So what we want to do in the technique inference engine is this. Suppose your detection engineers, your SOC, observes 2 or more techniques that an adversary has used in sequence. Technique A happened, then technique B happened. What the technique inference engine will do is develop a model that will tell you with some confidence, you know, if you've seen A, and then you've seen B, you should look for C. C is a likely next technique that the adversary has done. And D is also a likely technique, but maybe not as likely as C. That is the inference part of it. Given 2 or more techniques, what's the next one? The model, we believe, can also build in a historical view. That is, if you see C preceded by B, it'll give you recommendations for technique A, the prior one in the sequence. This will guide analysts, threat hunters, red teamers, investigators, and threat modelers from what technique is seen to what is not yet seen. The reason I love this project is because it might fail horribly. We're at a point in the Center for Threat-Informed Defense where we can attempt ambitious research with big rewards for the community. So let's do something not safe. Let's do it unsafely together. Next one, please. Now I'd like to speak to our security capability mappings program. So what we do with our security capability mappings, and for those of you familiar, these represent almost 1/4 of the projects that the center has published to date. And it represents projects that about half of our members have contributed to. This is a big part of our work. What we do in the security capability mappings is identify the potential occurrence of a technique, share what capabilities limit the impact of a technique, and share what capabilities provide actions to take for a detected technique. This is on platforms like AWS, Azure, Google Cloud Platform, and the recently published M365. We have a few more mappings projects coming up. One is to prioritize known exploited vulnerabilities. The center has done some work in mapping CVE to attack. We'd like to do some more. We'd like to update that methodology, and in updating that methodology, prioritize what it is that we look at in the security capability mappings, and the way that we'll prioritize is with the KEVs. A second area that is new for us is hardware-enabled defense. That is, there are capabilities on the chip that complement security capabilities in the operating system. So that sounds great. What are they? And how do they work? That's what we'll answer in this hardware-enabled defense project that you'll see from the center this year. Our entire mappings program is done to share the defenses that you need for the threats that you face. Sometimes it even tells you the defenses that you already have for the threats that you face. One more element I'll share on the security capability mappings is in creating about 11 projects in mappings with 2 or 3 more coming up, we needed to unite this mappings program into resources that you could use more easily, that you could navigate across, that you could compare the framework that you use to the platform that you have. So the center developed something called Mappings Explorer. You've already downloaded Attack Power Suite. Time to navigate yourself to Mappings Explorer so you can see holistically what our security capability mappings do for your environment. Do I have one more? Yes, I do. All right, so I've shared with you what the center has done. So now, what do I need from you? I need 4 things. First, use this work. I started this off by saying, use the insider threat knowledge base, look at Sightings ecosystem. I asked you to contribute to them. I shared with you Mappings Explorer. So use the work that we have and then share this work. We have, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, about 700 people listening to me right now. Let's get that to 7,000. And that comes from each of you telling 2 people about the center's work and each of them telling 2 people. Use this work and share this work. But the point of using the work and sharing the work is the third item. Improve this work. Our research needs to stand the test of operations. There was a infamous American named Mike Tyson who shared, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Punch our research in the mouth. Let's make it better. And finally, in addition to improving the work that we have, let's create more work. This is that point of, I thought, to throw the roadmap out completely and hear the demands of the community here. You all have great ideas of what the APAC region and the world need for threat-informed defense. Tell us and let us work on it together.